How y'all doing? Now I'm back in with another video. Today I'm going to be showing you a piece of open source software that you can use to essentially completely replace if you use something like a bunch of the Google like Cloud Suite apps like Google Docs, Google Drive, stuff like that. Um, it's like it in the sense that it has a large number of apps you can install into it to kind of create like your own self-hosted cloud suite, which is really nifty. I actually, in fact, me and my wife actually have this installed on our own network, and we use it ourselves instead of using like Dropbox for files or other, and then some of the things like Google Cloud Suite stuff for documents and notes and stuff. So I want to show you that today. Before we get started, if you've been enjoying my content, you haven't subscribed, do me a favor, go down below, subscribe, drop me a like if if you've liked my video so far. And with that, let me show you the goods. Go over here. Okay, there. So we have Nextcloud. Nextcloud is from what I understand from when I think someone else did a video about this, this used to just be like a self-hosted cloud storage solution, but they've expanded to where now it's more like a comprehensive suite. And um, there are a couple different ways you can use this. I think you can buy like devices with it preloaded onto it. I think you can probably just like commission like a self like hosted solutions to have this running, or if you do what I do, you can just basically download and run this shit yourself. So I'm going to be doing that and showing you and just kind of like doing a tour of some of the apps that are installed to show you what you can do with it. Now, for the sake of simplicity, I'm not going to be like installing it like on my machine as is. I've already pulled the Docker image for this, and I'm going to start up the a Docker image for this. So let me pop over here, and all right, I already started. Okay, yeah. So this is essentially what I used to run this. This command's basically pulled off of the Docker Hub page for Nextcloud, and I have it on port 8080. So I actually haven't installed this way. Um, I have this running on a Raspberry Pi in my office. I'm actually going to make a whole separate video about how to actually set that up, get it installed, and how to make it publicly accessible if it's on your local network. Because depending on your ISP, that's a bit of a pain in the ass. So let me go to localhost 8080. So when you first start this up, this is what you're going to be introduced with. They want you to create an admin account. And you have a couple of different options in terms of what databases to use for this. By default, as it says, it's using SQLite, which is a file storage, a local file storage database, and you will see a warning here. It says, it should only kind of be used for development and minimal like testing purposes. If it's kind of being used more in like a production environment, it's not really meant to be used for that. Um, this indicates where you want it stored on your machine, and then you can use MySQL or you can use Postgres. I'm just going to stick with this because I don't have a separate database set up for this and what I want to. So for this admin account, I'm just going to put in just some test shit. Okay. And it's going to ask whether you want to install recommended apps. So you'll probably recognize some of these. So we have a calendar app, which this could essentially replace the, like Google Calendar. We have a contacts that you can kind of manage your contacts, and that might even be useful for like a CMS, like a customer management thing. I don't use that one that much. Talk is actually like voice chat. So you can actually host your own like voice chat apps on here too, which is really nice. Assuming it's running on hardware that supports that. We don't use that on ours because again, it's running on a Raspberry Pi. It ain't got a lot of power behind it. There's a mail, and only Office is, I believe, the equivalent of like Google Docs, where you can have multiple people working on the same document. So I'm gonna go ahead and let those recommended apps be installed, and let it do its thing. I will say on our version, the one that's on our Raspberry Pi, the only things we really use it for is the storage, and really that's it. It's really just the storage. Never know. Okay, so installing everything. We mostly just use it for the storage. I will say while this is installing, um, for the cloud storage part, which is again what we primarily use, there are some companion apps that go with this. There are both desktop and mobile clients available for this on all platforms, as far as I know. The mobile apps will allow you to browse the the files and um, upload stuff, download things, move them around. I use it all the time. To We were passing images back and forth, especially whenever I was uh, posting our cat pics to like Instagram or something. Um, and then the desktop client is something similar to what you'll experience if you've used like Dropbox's desktop client, where you can specify like a directory and it'll make sure that the files in that directory are synced to your Nextcloud instance. I'm assuming this is kind of like a tour. Yeah, you can if you install this and use, yeah, okay, so this is talking about the desktop app and the Android and Apple, the iPhone apps you can use to like interact with your files. Let's see. So I did mention this is all open source, and it's written in PHP if I recall correctly. So if there's like a whole swath of apps you can install, and if there's something that you just don't see that you need, if you're PHP savvy, you can just write your own add-on for it and just make it yourself. So here is the file storage part, and it just has like some stock stuff here by default. You can see you can even if it's like a video, it'll even like play the video. This is It's pretty nice. I know this because we sometimes when my wife makes recordings of her work, I'll have her put them on our Nextcloud instance so I can download it and then do the processing on it. And here's a manual to just browse through what you can do with it. I don't think this is really worth showing. And you could do most of the things you would expect with most cloud storage stuff on here. You can delete things. You can you can move them. Let's see. And okay, yeah, web DAV. This is it's kind of like I guess you want to call it a specification that you can use to interact with this cloud storage with different devices. I actually have on our Nextcloud instance, I use it to sync Joplin. Joplin is a open source like note app that is it's very similar to Evernote, but you have to sync it yourself. And but since we have our own cloud storage running on our network, I was like, all right, I'll just set it up so that it syncs on there. So that's what another thing that I primarily use it for. Hmm. And here's a photos app. Um, Again, there's a bunch of like stock photos here, so you have like a photo gallery built in, and you can organize them, move them around. And here's an activity thing, which is kind of like more like for auditing. You can see, who's been doing what, who created what, when was it done, different file changes, the calendar, to dos. Just kind of like a more like an admin hub to see what's been going on. Mail? I don't think I actually use mail. Yeah, I think yeah, you can just connect this to use it as a what do you want to call that, like a mail client, so you can look at and send mail connected to your other like email accounts. I don't use this, so I don't really know uh, how useful this is, but I mean, if you kind of, if you're planning to use this as like your one stop as a suite for your workspace, this is probably nice to set up. Contacts. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think I use this either. Yeah, so this is basically you can just track all your like business contacts or whatever you want to store in here. It probably integrates with the mail thing too, if I had to guess. And here's a calendar where you can do, just typical things. You can create um, separate calendars, and then each calendar can have their own like events. And I think you can give different users access to the calendars to see what's going on. And if we go over to apps, there's all kinds of here's all the other apps you can install. There's tons and tons and tons. And they're organized by like types. So if we go to organization, they have all kinds of stuff here. You can book appointments. That's a nice app too. I've actually messed with that myself. Um, Deck, yeah, Deck I think is it's basically kind of like a Kanban. It's like, yeah, if I recall correctly, this is basically like a little Kanban app. So that could essentially replace like Trello or something. You can have basically Trello baked into your Nextcloud instance. Form app similar to Google Forms. You can have forms created and submitted there. Let's see what else. That's there's a note app, so you can like I'm gonna actually download and install one of these just to show you what it looks like. This will be is it already up? It is. Notes, and it does use Markdown, and I think you can interact with these notes through the mobile clients too. So you would start it up, and it's like it's kind of like a miniature version of most other note apps. So you can be like, uh, this is a note, and you notice it automatically formats it. Let's see, like this is a section. This is a list. Right? Is that how that works? Yeah. So you can just like you can share the notes. I think when it comes to like who can see what, I think by default everybody can basically kind of see everyone else's stuff. If I recall correctly, I could be wrong about that. But there's a security thing where you can have much more fine-grained control over stuff, such as um, putting restricting who can access what based on things like groups and things like that. Speaking of groups, let's go to users. This is where you could add new groups and add users, and you can use those things like the groups to do security based access control on things like apps and stuff. If you're an admin, I think this will show a lot of notifications. That's blocking stuff. Yeah, blah 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 blah. What else we got here? You can theme this to fit what you want. So you can let's go to where is it? Theming. Yeah, theming. So you can basically brand this yourself. You can change the name of it, the link, the address of it, slogan, the main color, which will basically be like the stuff that's up here, and you can upload your own logo and change the. I think this is the background image for when you log in. Legal notices, privacy, header logo, yeah. So you can essentially brand this to your own brand if you wanted to use it for your own like own business. What else we got here? Mobile desktop. I think I just yeah that does shows. Yeah, you can. I think you can actually connect this to other like things like other calendar apps if you kind of want to integrate it with things you already have. This is just personal info. Let's see if there's anything else that's like kind of interesting on here. Let's go back to the apps because I think there was a specific app I wanted to look at that I thought was really nice before. I think where is the talk? I think is talk not already installed? I thought it was talk. Oh, it's not enabled. Although I don't think I suppose I can use it right now because obviously my camera and stuff's already being used. Let's go to talk. Go into conversation. Create a new group. Do that. Yeah. Test. Create conversation. Wonder if I can make this not use the camera because obviously it can't. Sure, although I can't use the camera, but it is using the voice. So again, this you can essentially use Nextcloud to completely replace, as far as I've seen, at least the extent that I use things like Google Cloud Suite apps, especially in college. This can essentially replace it, and you can run it yourself, so that you can have it on your own hardware. That way, you're in control of the data, and like you're in control of what's going on, rather than leaving it up to being on someone else's hardware, which who the hell knows what they're doing with it. So that's just kind of like a brief walkthrough of Nextcloud. I just wanted to show you what you can do on it. I would highly advise. I would highly recommend that if you were looking for a solution as like for like a self-hosted or self-managed cloud storage and cloud suite app, this is super nice. Um, I will make another video where I actually show you how to set this up to run on your own network, specifically on a Raspberry Pi. There is like there's a community created tool called, I think it's called Nextcloud Pi, which makes it pretty much as simple as just downloading an image, putting it on an SD card, and kablam, you're ready to go. But there's some other things I had to do to make it publicly accessible on our network. So that's all I had to show you today. If you liked the video, drop me a like, subscribe. If you think someone else would be interested in this, be sure to share it. I'd appreciate it. If you have any questions about what you can do on here, or just any other questions about getting this set up, leave me a comment down below, and I'll do my best to answer your question if I can. If you would like to follow me on other platforms, I got some links down there for Twitter and Discord. If you would like to support the channel, which I would love you forever, there's some links down there below as well. And with that, y'all come on back now, and I'll see you next time.